Today we're going to look at solving division problems by using synthetic division. So we have several steps that we have to look at when we're using synthetic division. So step 1 says that we're going to write the polynomial in descending order. So when we're talking about descending order, remember we're going by our exponents. Step 2 is that we're going to solve the divisor, so that's whatever you're dividing by. If it's written as a fraction, it's your denominator. Solve that divisor for x once you set it equal to 0. And then you're going to use this value from step 2. That's what you're using here. It says write the value on the left. We're going to set up a box. So we're going to use the value from step 2 on the left, and then we're going to write down your coefficients. Remember, your coefficients are your big numbers. Okay, and then step 4 says we're going to bring down the first coefficient. Okay, step 5 says to multiply. Multiply the first coefficient by the number outside the box. Step 6 is to write the product, that's your answer to your multiplication, in the next column. Step 7 is to add the numbers in the column. And then step 8 is to repeat all this. And like I said, as we do the problems, these steps will make sense. Okay, and then step 9 talks about how we're going to write our answer. So it says the numbers along the bottom are coefficients of the power of x in descending order. The most important part here is starting with the power that is 1 less than that of the dividend. So this is talking about how we write our answer. When we look at writing our answer, we're going to have remainders. So when the remainder is 0, that just means that whatever you're dividing is a factor. Oops, it's a factor. Okay, so let's look at actually applying all these steps. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to look at our problem and write our problem in descending order. So we have 2x cubed minus 13x squared plus 17x minus 10, and we're dividing that by x minus 5. So our polynomial is in descending order because we have 3 x's, 2 x's, 1 x, and no x. So we're going to take our divisor, which is x minus 5, and we're going to set this equal to 0 and solve it. So that means that x is equal to 5. Now what we're going to do is basically make a little box over here, and we're going to take this x equals 5 and put it in the box. And then out from that box we're going to write all our coefficients. So our first coefficient was 2, then negative 13, and 17, and then we have a constant which is negative 10. So once again, remember these were already in descending order. We're going to leave some space here and draw a line. We're going to carry down this first number, which is 2. Then we're going to multiply the 2 by the number that's in the box. So 2 times 5 is 10. We're going to put that answer in the second column. Then we're going to add. Negative 13 plus 10 is negative 3. Then we're going to multiply negative 3 with the number in the box, which is 5. So negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Put that in the next column. Now add straight down. 17 plus negative 15 is 2. Multiply that by the number in the box. 2 times 5 is 10. Put that in the next column. Add straight down. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. Now, there's a couple things here. This first thing is this number that's on the end, this 0 over here. Whatever this last number is, this one's going to be your remainder. So we don't have a remainder on this one. So we're going to write our answer. So we're going to start with the 2, that's our first coefficient. And then we're going to go 1 less than the highest exponent we started with. So since we started with x cubed, our answer is going to start with x squared. Then we're going to have negative 3, and we'll just go down in powers of x. So 2 x's, now 1x. Then the next number is 2, so plus 2. So 2 x's, 1x, no x here, and we don't have a remainder. So this is our answer. The other thing is since our remainder over here was 0, that means that we can say that x minus 5 is a factor of what we started with, 2x cubed minus 13x squared plus 17x minus 10. So we're just saying it's a factor since we had 0 remainder. So let's try the next example. So we have x cubed minus 27. So the first thing was to write it in descending order, this x cubed minus 27. Well, the only x we even have there is x to the third power. So we're going to have to put in what we call placeholders. So we're going to rewrite this as x cubed. We don't have an x squared, so we're going to say plus 0x squared. We don't have a plain x, so we're going to say plus 0x, and then we have our constant, which is minus 27. Okay, our second step is to take our divisor, the one you're dividing by, x minus 3, set that equal to 0, and solve that, so we get x equals 3. And that tells us what we're going to put in the box. So in the box, we're going to have 3 in the corner, and then our coefficients for our x's. So x cubed has a coefficient of 1. We didn't have an x squared. We didn't have an x. And then we have our constant. So leave a little space, draw a line. So we're going to carry down our first coefficient, which is 1 below the line. We're going to use that to multiply by the number in the box. So 1 times 3 is 3. Then we're going to add. 0 plus 3 is 3. Then we're going to say 3 times 3 is 9. Put that in the next column. Add straight down, 0 plus 9 is 9. Then we're going to multiply 9 by the number in the box, which is 3. So 9 times 3 is 27. Put that in the next column. Add straight down, negative 27 plus 27 is 0. Remember, this number is your remainder, which once again, we do not have one. So we're going to write our answer. So our answer, the numbers that are at the bottom here, these are our coefficients. And we start with one less exponent than what we started with. So our first coefficient's 1. And then since we started with x cubed, our answer is going to be 1x squared. Plus, our next coefficient is 3. Go in descending order with your powers of x. So 2x's, 1x. And then we have a 9 plus 9. And that's your constant. 2x's, 1x, no x. No remainder here. So there's our answer to our division problem. And the other thing that we can say is that x minus 3 is a factor of x cubed minus 27. And the reason why it's a factor is because we have a remainder of 0. Okay, so example 3. So first thing, let's write this in descending order. So if you look, our top part here, our biggest exponent is r to the 6. And then we have negative 5r to the 5th. Okay, we don't have an exponent with 4, so we're going to put in a 0, a placeholder, plus 0r to the 4th. And then we have plus 13r cubed plus 7r squared. We don't have a plain r, so we're going to put in another placeholder. So plus 0r, and then our constant's minus 4. So we're going to take our divisor, which is r plus 1, set that equal to 0, and solve. So r equals negative 1. So that's what goes in our box. And then our coefficients in descending order, so 1, negative 5, 0, 13, 7, 0, and negative 4. Leave a little bit of space here. So we'll bring down our first number. Our first coefficient is 1. And then multiply by the number in the box. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Add negative 5 and negative 1 is negative 6. Multiply the negative 6 by the number in the box. So negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6 in the next column. Add once again, 0 plus 6 is 6. Multiply that by the number in the box. So 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Next column. Add straight down. 13 plus negative 6 is 7. 7 times the number in the box, which is negative 1. So negative 7 in the next column. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. Multiply 0 times negative 1 is 0. 0 plus 0 gives us 0 again. And 0 times negative 1 will give us 0. Negative 4 plus 0 is negative 4. So this one we do have a remainder on. So we'll write our answer. So remember, these represent your coefficients. So the first coefficient's 1, and we start with one less exponent than what we started with. So since we started with r to the 6th, this will be 1r to the 5th minus 6r to the 4th plus 6r to the 3rd plus 7r squared. So plus 0r plus 0. And then our remainder we write as a fraction. So minus 4 over our divisor, which was r plus 1. Now notice we have this 0r and this 0, so we really don't even need to write that. So I'm just going to mark that out. So we have 1r to the 5th minus 6r to the 4th plus 6r cubed plus 7r squared minus 4 over r plus 1. So this one will say r plus 1, that's what we divided by. R plus 1 is not a factor because we had a remainder this time. So since we have a remainder, it's not a factor. Okay, try this one on your own. Pause the video, try it on your own, then come back and check yourself. So we're going to start by writing in descending order. So we have t to the 3rd minus 6t squared. We don't have a plain t, so we'll put in a placeholder. So plus 0t and then plus 1. Then you're going to take your divisor, t plus 2, set it equal to 0, and solve. So t equals negative 2. So that goes in our box. And then your coefficients in descending order. So 1, negative 6, 0, and 1. Leave a little bit of space. Carry down your first coefficient, which is 1. Multiply by the number in the box. So 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Add that column. Negative 6 and negative 2 is negative 8. Then you're going to multiply the negative 8 by the number in the box, which is negative 2. So negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. Add the column. 0 plus 16 is 16. 16 times negative 2 is negative 32. Add straight down. 1 and negative 32 is negative 31. So this one also has a remainder. So let's write our answer first. So our answer, we're going to start with our coefficient, and our first coefficient's 1, and then one less exponent than your original problem. So since that was t cubed, we'll say 1t squared minus 8t plus 16. This time we have our remainder. So negative 31, so we're going to say minus 31 over your divisor, which is t plus 2. So here's our answer. Then the last thing we're going to talk about is whether or not it's a factor. So this time we're going to say t plus 2 is not a factor, and it's not a factor because we had that remainder.